Today, Justin and I talk about Microsoft 365 Copilot announcements at Ignite. We cover why it's so important to have strong business process definition and automation in place before you tackle Agentic AI. And we'll also talk about cool lessons we've learned working with customers in the field. Let's go. Hey,
Grant.
what's up, Justin?
Hey, I'm
Doing
doing well,
great.
man. How's life down in SoCal? I heard there's some ridiculous storms going down.
Yeah, record breaking. Like I think we got 2 inches on Saturday, so it was rough for us. But I thought
Yeah.
about you up there in the Pac Northwest, and that's just like a day for you, like a normal day.
Yeah,
So
it's like a damp afternoon, man. I'm not
yeah,
gonna lie. Well, I'm glad to have another opportunity to talk on this podcast with you. And for the listeners, first of all, thank you. We hit a big milestone. We had what 15,000 total views. I mean, we're not taking down Andrew Huberman yet,
this isn't Joe
but
Rogan yet,
it's
but
not the Joe Rogan show. But
we're getting there.
yeah, it's incremental steps. So for the listeners who don't know, my name is Justin Rayfield, and what I do for work, I work at Microsoft. Been here for a little bit over 13 years now, I think, roughly. And I work with enterprise customers, big companies across the U.S. in the telco, media, entertainment, architecture, engineering space. It's a bit of a smorgasbord as a sales leader, right? So I manage a team of sales professionals and technology strategists who work with these big companies across the entire Microsoft spectrum of business products. That's what I do. Grant, go ahead.
Yeah, so what I do is I also work at Microsoft, been here going on 15 years, and I am a principal solution engineer in our AI workforce space. And that just means that I help customers understand what AI can bring to their businesses as it relates to their Microsoft investment. So think all things Copilot, Microsoft 365, and I also work with a ton of different companies like Justin, focused primarily in what we call professional services. So that's law firms, accounting firms, and a whole slew of other related industries. So yeah, that's who we are, and we love the whole AI conversation, and that's why we're here with you today to sort of discuss what's on the radar and what's coming, and some of the interesting things that we see with our customers and in our
Yeah.
business.
I think what's been fun mostly over the last few times that we've done this is just talking and sharing you're right, like what's topical from customers, what they're encountering, what challenges they're seeing, where successes they're seeing, and then obviously we're big, or maybe we're not big, but we're pretty obviously nerdy about and enthusiastic about all things AI, not just Microsoft's AI. And it's fun to talk about because there's so much change. It helps, I think, us get smarter, but also I think we can add some good to other people's sort of understanding of what's going on in the greater world as we help you digest it. So, I mean, what's top of mind for you today? I mean, this is a big day for us folks who work at Microsoft, but obviously, what's the big news today? And let's dig into it.
Yeah, well, there's so much big news, so much. Just Microsoft related, we have our Ignite conference that's an annual conference. It kicked off today in San Francisco, and we had a bunch of announcements. I think one of the ones that I pulled out was we've rebranded and sort of shifted a lot of our underlying intelligence in our platform, and we've rebranded it as Workplace IQ. So it used to be called the Microsoft Graph, and that would always be accompanied by me explaining what the Microsoft Graph was and why it was interesting and why companies should pay attention to it. Now it's like, oh, okay, it's Workplace IQ. It's this smart workplace layer that we have in our Microsoft investments that make Copilot extra smart and really serve as the differentiator. So I'm glad that we called that out and brought that to the forefront, because that truly is our advantage over the OpenAIs, the Googles, and all of the other enterprise players out there. So
Workplace IQ, does it replace the graph? Is it a bolt? Is it like an additional layer? It's an additional, like, help make us smart. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's the foundational layer of like you and I work together and
Yep.
we share emails and meetings and chats and org charts and just
Mhm.
millions and billions of other signals within our organizations as we work together and create things and
Yeah.
share things. All of those are reflected as signals.
Right.
And there are these relationships between all of those things. And that's really what the workplace IQ is and represents. So all of those billions of data points and relationships are what Copilot can tap into to return the best possible information and the best insights about who you are, who your
Yeah.
customers are, how you've been working, and really gives Copilot an edge over all of those other tools, which might also look at, say, just your email or
Mm.
maybe just a SharePoint document library and know about that, but it won't know about everything else that's on that
Mm.
workplace IQ. So
Yeah.
to me, it's a brilliant marketing move. I don't often say that about our marketing team because
Yeah.
they make it confusing sometimes, but this was brilliant. It just
Mhm.
makes a lot more sense, and it's a great rebranding of the Microsoft Graph.
Yeah. And I haven't dug into it as deeply as I want. I think I've probably spent, I don't know, probably 30 minutes today trying to get smart on workplace IQ. Um, my understanding is that this sort of contextual layer on top of the data, there is some new tech as part of it.
There is.
And what it does really well is it enables you as a user, as a business user, as a person, to say, hey, look, hey, generate this email and make sure that or hey, generate an email to Grant asking him about his upcoming deadlines, and then it'll surface insights to me as like as recommendations that are relevant based off of my previous interactions, and
Hmm.
then the email that it ends up drafting, because it knows my writing style and whatever, like it's going to sound more like me. Because yeah, I think the big knock on AI has traditionally been, I mean, I'll just say it, right? Like I don't start all of my emails with a very formal, uh,
Hmm.
initial line that sounded kind of foreign and
Hmm.
just sort of like not culturally appropriate to my workplace environment.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that it's changed. We're a frontier adopters within Microsoft, so I think we've probably been using this, unbeknownst to us, probably for a little bit. Like I've noticed that it's definitely improved over the last month or so in terms of that. I don't know. So my
For
take on
sure.
workplace IQ is that anything that makes AI much more relevant, like the recommendations, like it's sort of like having an assistant right next to me, right? Like
Yeah.
whispering in my ear, "Hey, did you think about that? Like, how about that?" It just makes it much more useful versus a single silo. I don't know. That's my
Yeah.
that's my hope and dream, and I know it works because I think I've been using it uh,
Hmm.
in the background. Yeah, Grant, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And on top of that, we also rolled out personalization and memories
Mm.
in Copilot. So I can set that now so it explicitly has certain memories and, to your point, an understanding of what
Yeah.
I've done in the past and sort of how I communicate. And then I can use the personalization to give it that tone that I want to
Yeah.
make sure that it's,
Mm.
appropriate
It,
for the workplace culture, right? So
but
there's
that's been like consumer AI for a while, right?
That's
Like,
been
I
in
mean,
consumer AI for a while, but the race is on, and our engineering, we've got tens of thousands of engineers working on this, and they can only do so much so fast. So
yeah,
kudos to them for even
yeah.
keeping up a little bit. But yeah, it's pretty exciting to see it all kind of come together.
It's what I was talking to, a CTO, or SVP of IT, a few weeks ago, and his concern was, hey, like, how do I make your AI versus this other AI tool, something that our users get genuinely excited about, right? Because they have this other AI tool right now, and we haven't seen like amazing like adoption. It's not like transforming anything. People are just sort of using it in lieu of maybe search, or maybe they're using it to like help them do a little bit of research, but it hasn't like changed how they do work. It hasn't changed or organize like all the wonders that you guys at Microsoft right now are speaking of in terms of frontier firms. Like we're not seeing any of that. So like if we switch to your tool, how is that going to change anything? Was this question? And a person who works on my team had a great answer. And his answer in response was, look, if you make a commitment to a single tool that can connect all of your work products for your workforce, and you use this as like a demarcation transformative moment in time, like, hey, we went from a screwdriver to a hammer, so to speak. Like you can use that, just changing out the tool as an opportunity to like focus your organization. And then now that with Workplace IQ, you still allow people to like make it theirs, right? Like they can own their own experience. And I think that's awesome. Like people want customization. They don't want to feel that like everyone's got the same thing.
Totally.
I don't know, that's my take on it. But
no, totally. It's that kind of that tired metaphor of being an agent boss. Like, geez, you hear that in frontier firm so much in every meeting, but it's true. Like you are your own agent boss, and you're out there wrangling all of the agents that you need to get your job done. And it's my agents are not going to be the same as your agents, because I'm in a different organization, different department, different goals for me to have a successful day. True. So so those agents that are out there, it doesn't matter, for us in our ecosystem, Copilot, it doesn't matter if they're Microsoft agents or other third-party agents, but you can use them all in the same place and in the same context within that Work IQ. So
agents seem very, very hot at Ignite. I think there was a big announcement about agentic capabilities in app, right? Like within Word or within PowerPoint or Excel. Maybe you can educate us on that a little bit, and then I think I've got a cool story from my own lame work life that I'd like to share with everybody else. Go ahead.
A lot of the talk has been about agent mode in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all of the Office apps, and how that sort of works and why it's different, and why is Copilot by default in all of those apps. And it's a couple different things. One is just having Copilot chat within Excel or within Word. I can do that just web research. Even if I don't have a Copilot license, I can still use the free Copilot chat experience to summarize a document, to pull that content for my next page or section from doing some web research. But then with agent mode, then I flip over into the M365 Copilot, where then I can start to modify the document and to do things on the Workplace IQ.
You can tell the agent to do something for you, right? Like it'll do it in the app. You say, hey, make the blues yellows, or no, just give me an example, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Formatting, say, writing a formula in Excel, transforming data, create a pivot table, right? So those really time-consuming tasks are where the M365 Copilot really helps out a lot.
Is that the same?
But what we saw was that people were switching back and forth. They were going to Copilot chat, doing a bunch of research, or even worse, they were using a third party or a consumer tool to do the same thing. They were going out, doing something, generative AI, summarizing research, whatever.
Yeah, and then in consumer back, tool X. Yeah.
Yeah. And then coming back to their work and then pasting that in, or exfiltrating information unknowingly to a consumer tool. So by marrying that within where they're already doing work, it just made sense.
Oh, so basically you're saying, hey, look, you're already in your Word document, your Word app. You can now do the research portion with Copilot. You don't need to bounce between
Yeah, you can summarize,
browser,
research.
whatever, and then
Yeah.
copy paste into this. Like you do it all right there. And the most important thing is like now it has this agentic, i.e., it can do things on your behalf, like control your computer and do stuff. So like my personal productivity win and is, the other day I used it to, I just described my intent to Analyst Agent, which was, hey, I want a graph that does X, Y, and Z based off of a model of risk on a deal that we're working, and hey, I want the model to be based off of two factors, right? Our ability to influence and the potential monetary impact, good or bad, and hey, just create a draft Excel table with a with a corresponding data layer so I can see it. And you know what? Like I said that on my phone. I saw it whirring away. I then walked with my daughter to our car, went home, and bam, came back to my computer 10 minutes later, opened it up. It had done like all sorts of stuff like Python reasoning, all sorts of coding, whatever it was doing. Next thing, all I really cared about was it said open, click this file, this Excel file to check it out. And I clicked it. And it was probably like 85% the way there, right? It had the model, it had a table created, it had a formula, it had some stuff, and I was able to modify it slightly by talking to it in the Copilot chat, and then frankly I was like, okay, now I can take it from here. Like I think ultimately, like having agentic ability, made me do something faster than I would have done otherwise. So it was a win.
Right.
I was just surprised it worked. I was like, oh my God, the whole thing works. Perfect.
Probably saved you an hour's worth of tinkering in Excel, right?
Yeah, I think what it does is it doesn't. I heard this great quote the other week. I didn't say it. I wish I had, but it was something like, it doesn't enable you to do something you couldn't already do, but it enables you to do something you wouldn't do on your own, right? It's not like I couldn't do that, but I wouldn't have done it because it was time consuming for me and onerous, and it's just easier for me to tell somebody else to go do it for me. Right. Just to be blunt, right? Like, and now I've got somebody else to go tell do the nug work, and I could polish it up.
That's right.
So I don't know. So I'm excited about that, man.
Yeah.
What else at Ignite? Oh, so you did mention one thing. I'm curious is, you mentioned the scenario. Hey, I went to consumer AI, whatever, to get some research done for work, and then I brought it back into my workplace favorite application by Microsoft, obviously. And you mentioned that scenario, which I think many people who look at this channel might think of this as shadow IT. Basically,
shadow AI,
shadow AI. Sure. That means non-sanctioned, non-governed, non-secure, potentially, probably.
Trading on your data, 100%.
Yeah,
whenever you put something in a consumer AI tool, unless you explicitly opt out, which most people have not, they're 100% going to use that to train their next model.
Yeah.
Right.
So you employee X of Acme Company, when you upload your competitors' product list and your upcoming products, and you ask consumer AI that you haven't paid for, hey, what are your thoughts on our market fit and competitive? You've just informed their next model or their current model, which can then potentially be queried by somebody else in Timbuktu, so to speak.
Yeah. The world is thirsty for like real human data. And we've already given it all of our encyclopedias and DVDs and CDs and pretty much everything written language. So now
they want new stuff. It's hungry for new stuff. Yeah. I mean, so I thought Ignite had a cool announcement today that helps address, I think, the people who listen to our podcast here, who are in leadership positions and often have to worry about leakage of intellectual property and control of their data. And we announced, I think it was like Agent 365 or Agentic 365, which is sort of like this governance platform or application that will enable companies to have better control. Is that the gist of it? Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean you hit on the top two conversations that I have with every executive at every company that I visit. One is, how do we enable secure AI and start creating agents? And two is, how do I govern those agents and make sure that it doesn't just run amok? And where do I do that? Right? You've got so many different places, and how do we sort of centralize that? So yeah, some of the announcements this week are helping to address those concerns and the underlying data that the agents are using, and just the whole control aspect and security and governance is
it's like
pretty big.
It's huge, right? It's the non-fun part of technology for business folks, but if you do it wrong, it can set back your company's implementation and adoption of AI dramatically, right? But I'm glad that we're really thinking hard and putting a lot of energy into it, because not a lot of companies out there are, like, the governance and security aspect of it. And I think it's a miss if you don't build it into your headline event like we did. The other thing that I thought was pretty cool in the news was the Anthropic partnership that we announced today. Huge investment by them in our data centers, us building in Anthropic. It's a model choice now in Copilot, or will be for frontier firms, I think. Is that the gist of it?
Yeah, it's a model choice that we added into researcher a while ago and into Copilot Studio and Foundry. And so, yeah, just giving builders the ability to fine tune their agent or their workflow for exactly what they're doing, the amount that they want to spend, the scenario that they're building. You can do that very well using the right model. So adding the Anthropic models certainly helps us to diversify our offerings, and really shows a lot of commitment to the enterprise. So
yeah, for sure, man. I think yesterday you shared with me, or I shared with you maybe this YouTube podcast about they were talking about the general sort of like where are we at in terms of state of play and the great AI competition amongst all the big tech companies. And the speaker, I think, we can put the link into it later. The presenter said that, like, model choice and having diversity of LLMs is probably going to be pretty critical. And I think that we're one of maybe two, maybe the only one out there, maybe two, I guess, big tech companies that are that we're many LLM friendly, right? And I think that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, that was another great part of that partnership with Anthropic, who was actually the inventor of the model context protocol, which allows agents to freely connect with each other, open source. So they're on the same page as we are as far as offering the most complete set of models and agents to our customers. So yeah, it's having choice from an end user standpoint as to what agents you want to use in what scenario is just as important as, I think, giving the choice to the developers when they're building things, so that you can take into account cost and governance and capabilities. So
it kind of gets back to our history too as like a company, right? Like the PC, I thought, in my mind, it was, we were kids at the time, but I always thought that, like, the PC was kind of like a more of an open ecosystem versus like the Mac, right? Which was more of a closed ecosystem. And having that type of choice is, especially developers, but even users, right? Like, if you can choose, choice, I think, is always a good thing. And
it
I
is,
think
and it
that,
isn't. I might
maybe there's
challenge
a
you on
double-edged sword
that.
there, right?
Like the driver issues on PCs and
Okay,
just
okay, okay.
trying
Yeah.
to support
True.
all those vendors and all those different that really that gave us a little bit of a bad reputation over time. I totally agree. It's
Yeah.
nice to have
Yeah.
choice and competition, but you
All
look
right,
at
let's
how
not
easy a
harken back
Mac
that far then.
is.
Let's
Yeah,
not go back all the
but
way.
but
Yes.
even now, you look at how easy it is to turn on a Mac. You just boom, and you've got that great sound. And so that's the brand they've built, and everything works. But we've done a better job now of
Mm,
incorporating vendors and building an OS that supports,
mm,
um, you know, our partners and many
yeah.
devices, but does so in a way that makes sense for us to support, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
But,
there's a rocky road there, but I think we're definitely improving.
yeah. But yeah, I definitely it sort of has informed our technology sort of philosophy, right? I mean, this is a pay grades above me and
Yeah,
you, but you could see it, right? In terms of uh, our willingness to be inclusive of other models, and I think you're right. We are scarred by some of that baggage, which I think is why it works so well with the other LLMs that we've built into our products, right? Like they work, right? I haven't heard a customer say, "Hey, this doesn't work," like they do.
yeah,
Um, anyways, man, what else top of mind for you? And then I think we got probably have to wrap it up, man. What else should we
yeah. I
talk
have
about with
I
these
have
folks
one
here?
thing.
Yeah.
I was with a customer last week on site with them, and their brand new C was he a C? He was basically their chief of AI. It
Hmm.
was He was newly
CAI.
minted
I like that.
CAI, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget what his exact title was, but
Yeah.
he was C level, and so we were talking about his new role, and he's like all gung ho about agents, and so
Hmm.
after a couple of days, we started like getting into the meat and potatoes of what they wanted to do, and so we did this whole exercise where we had a bunch of him and a bunch of his leaders were in the room, and they went through all these different use cases. They're like, yeah, okay, we're going to build an agent for this, and this. This one's super high priority. This one. So
Hmm.
um, the Microsoft team in the room, after a few hours, we went through like two
Hmm.
dozen of these ideas to build agents, and like 22 of them were just process automation, right? So I think that is emblematic of what a lot of organizations that are
Hmm.
excited, like this company is really excited about getting on that cutting edge of
Yeah.
technology and AI. And they're like, we need to do this because it's an existential threat. Like I wish all my
Hmm.
customers
Hmm.
felt that way, but this customer really got it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so it was a little bit sad when I had to say like, you guys just need to understand your processes better,
Hmm.
get those in order. And then in the future, maybe we take these workflows that you defined and we
Hmm.
wrap an agent
AI into
around
that.
that. But
Yeah.
it's like, you've got to
Yeah.
have good data, and you've got to have good process. And then maybe on the top, we can add AI, but it's not like everything is a use case
Hmm.
for AI. So
Hmm.
that was a
Are
really
you
sort of,
saying that AI isn't the solve for all of your business woes? Uh,
oh
you're
man,
right.
I wish.
You're right.
We should
It's
ask
not.
AI.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a good point, and it is sort of challenging because often, tech companies hype, we hype it as a panacea sometimes, but ultimately, if you don't have like clearly defined, like, hey, what are we trying to do here with this, right? Like, what's the business problem, business objective we're trying to solve? Like, people still need to buy in, right? Like humans are in
Yeah,
control. It's AI assist. So the humans need to define
right,
how and what and where we're going to derive value.
right.
And does that make sense? Because we're putting money and time into it. And then two, um, humans need to probably also control like the data, and they need to come up with a plan for the data that they're going to point this AI at, right? So like if you don't get that together, then the AI tool that you've purchased or invested in, isn't going to be very useful. So like some of those two things, right? Like data governance, security, cleanup, and as well as business ideation, is critical. Like it's funny you mentioned business processes. Like the one thing I'll say is, so I used to be a business application sales manager before my current role, sort of in a general account team unit. And the challenge that a lot of companies have in terms of investing in, like, because process automation has been around for a long time, right? Everyone has an Excel spreadsheet with a macro, and that's,
Yeah.
But the problem with that is that typically business process automation, there's examples out there where I'm wrong here, but there are examples, like for the most part, it's about efficiency, right? It's about time savings, money savings. It's about efficiency. It doesn't contribute to top line revenue growth directly.
Right.
Now there's some examples out there where like, hey, let's say we're automating our invoicing mechanism, and because we feel like we're missing a whole bunch of invoices that get whatever lost in the sauce because the Excel macro is broken and we just move on. But like for the most part, business process innovation and revamp doesn't correlate to direct top line revenue, but it does indirectly. Typically that doesn't, like, reducing costs doesn't necessarily motivate big companies to change.
Right.
I don't know. That's just sort of like I don't want to put a wet light on it, because I do think that's where everyone goes to start. But I would offer a counter perspective, which is, how are you, company X, going to try to beat your competitors with AI and generate more revenue and generate more value for your customers? How are you going to create more value for your customers via AI, and try to work back from that? And maybe if it's purely a cost efficiency play, then okay, go for it. But I don't know. It's a yeah. I don't know. I'm waxing. I'm going on here.
Get your data.
Get your ducks in
order.
Yeah, but hey, start somewhere. Like don't delay just because you don't have a big sexy revenue generating idea. Like Lord help you if you're like, hey, if you spend your entire life trying to create the perfect plan and you never do it, then you've just wasted a lot of time and effort, right? I think there was a phrase that I heard in the Army, which was, I know I heard it at Ranger School, which is like a poor plan executed very aggressively is probably better than a great plan that was poorly executed. So
it's like any most of the people at the gym, myself included, sometimes you walk in with no plan, but you remember, oh, I'm gonna do 3 of those and 5 of those, and then you string 5 days of that together.
That's right.
and you haven't really progressed in any meaningful way because there's no plan to execute and there are no clearly defined goals. So yeah, totally agree.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for your time, Grant. It's good seeing you. Hopefully you stay dry out there.
Justin.
Sir.
All right, man. We'll see you next time.